Okay.
And I'm going to share my screen. Now, I usually don't take real long. I tend to, there we go. Can you all see it?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Offer to contract to close. Okay. Arlene, could you let people in? I
Yes.
think,
Absolutely.
are you able to get in there? Or do I need to make you co-host? There, I made you co-host anyway. So you can get in and admit people. Okay, guys, so the long-awaited time has occurred. You've put something together and it's been accepted. And you go, oh my God, now what do I do? Right? So I'm going to suggest, if you like this, you like my handout, I would ask you to email me. And my email is pjalal, which is first initial last name at kw.com. And I will send you this handout. Do not put it in the chat. All right, email me and say, please send me offer to contract to close, and I will send it to you. pjalal at kw.com. So, and Arlene, please consider yourself a co-presenter. So the first thing you want to do, well, I'm assuming you already have this person in your contacts in command, and you've created the opportunity, which has enabled you to do the paperwork and submit the offer. Once you have an offer accepted, change the name to the property address. Now, Arlene, do you do that, or is that, do you leave it still in the client's name? Oops, you're muted, love.
I will do it as the property address. This way, it's good compliance for the office. So once I know the contract has been accepted, I do it with the address.
Okay. It's also good in case you have a client who's bought multiple properties over the year, because that's all what we work for, right? So submit the offer with the proper addendi to the listing agent with the pre-approval and the buyer signed seller property disclosure and lead disclosure. You do not need to send the CIS, the consumer information statement, the consent to dual agency, or the affiliated business arrangement. That's internal documents. But the listing agent is going to want to see the pre-approval and the buyer signed seller disclosure and lead disclosures. You negotiate, you counter offer. Now, your original offer is in writing. The counter offers can be verbal and frequently are. I'm going to tell you to keep notes someplace. Maybe you do the notes in the contact page. But especially in this day where there's multiple offers, the listing agent might get overwhelmed. If you've got several buyers submitting different offers, you could get overwhelmed. So the best thing to do is keep notes and be specific. If there are any changes to the original offer, be sure you make note of that. Okay. All right. And with the buyer, keep that sense of urgency. Sometimes buyers, especially if they're in a business that's a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, if they submitted offer on a Friday, they don't realize we work weekends, and they need to be available because maybe they need to raise their offer or submit their offer over the weekend. I have literally heard of buyers who say, well, I'll wait till Monday to submit my offer. They don't realize that we work weekends. And that over the weekend, there could be an offer that totally bumps them out of the arena. Arlene, anything to add to that?
I personally happen to, when I set a counter, I actually put in a second in writing, because if it's in writing, then I know it has to be Understood. My clients have already agreed to it. I've gotten my clients to sign it. I've had an issue once, and I'll never want to do that again, where the client told me they'll go to X amount. At which point I've shared that with the other side. The other side accepted it, and then I couldn't get my client to sign off on it.
Oh,
Even though I had his email verbalizing, stating that he would do it. So I
Yeah.
myself have gotten in the habit of anytime I do a counter, it takes me 2 seconds to redo the numbers on the contract and then send it as a complete document again.
I see. So rather than taking notes, you advocate just redo the offer.
I just redo the offer because you know what? It's ready for them to sign it. And
Yeah,
if they
right.
have it in their hand, it's in black and white and they can sign off right on it.
And so can the seller. Yep.
The
Yep. The
seller-
buyer. Yep. Good idea. Good idea. All right, just keep that sense of urgency with your buyers, and create a contact sheet that I think they call those executive summaries that lists all the parties involved. If you go on the Pivot Shift Ahead Facebook page, please make sure, please join that group if you haven't. It will be under their file section. You may have to search for it a little bit, but it's called Executive Summary, where you can submit that with your offer. So everybody knows the contact information, the name of everybody involved to the
And with
transaction.
that too, if you would like to email me, I'll send you one that I have as a template saved in my email for me to actually send it out. So each time I go to send out an offer, I already have it as a template saved. So I'm just updating it. The one that's on Pivot Shift, they have items. It was created by somebody out of North Carolina. So when Sam created it, they have things on it that we don't need.
Okay,
So
okay.
Well,
And
good.
Arlene, does everybody have your email address?
I'll put it in the chat. I put yours in and I'll put mine in now.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, send an executed contract. What's an executed contract, guys? This is Real Estate 101. I'm going to pull on your,
Where all the
Yeah.
signatures, everyone has signed off on it and everything has, all the conditions have been met.
okay, let's back up a little bit. You were right on when you said everybody signed, and the next sentence should be, and they have a copy of it, signed and delivered.
Okay.
Signed, not necessarily that everything's been met, all the things met. No, this is right in the beginning. An executed contract signed and delivered. Now, is the attorney a party to the contract?
No,
Correct, correct. Neither are you. The parties to the contract are the buyers and the sellers. And notice must go to the parties of the contract. So send an executed contract to the buyer, the seller, your client's attorney, the lender, and both agents, and include the executive summary or contact sheet. Contact Mike Puzo from Carnegie Title, so maybe they can get going on it. Hopefully you're using a BCP friendly, Carnegie Title friendly attorney, someone who makes their living doing real estate. And be sure the listing agent changes the status in the MLS. Make sure it gets changed to a RIP. Both attorneys need the buyer signed seller disclosure, lead disclosure, and the MLS printout of the property. Why do you think the attorneys need the MLS printout?
to confirm the details maybe, and the price, the commission, I don't know.
Yeah, don't be hesitant. Exactly. Is it septic? Is it well? What's the lot size? Do we have the right seller? All those details. And understand the attorneys are not there when you negotiate. Okay, so anything that gets negotiated that for
Patty,
some reason, What?
I just lost the people in the admit.
I think I got him.
Oh,
That's
good.
why maybe
Trying
you
to
lost
do
it.
it.
Yeah, I saw it pop up, so I just figured I'd click it. Okay, if not, they'll try again. Okay, the attorney needs to know, number one, anything that's been agreed to, first of all, should be put in the contract under additional contractual provisions, with some exceptions. With some exceptions. If for some reason, chattel, do you all know what chattel is?
Cattle.
Stuff, non-real estate stuff. If chattel is being included, for example, one of my agents one time was listing a property on Greenwood Lake and the seller was including the boat. Okay. The seller was including the boat. So the agent had put that in under additional contractual provisions that the, 15-foot boat with 150 horsepower Evinrude motor is to be included. And guess what happened? The lender said, you know what? That boat is probably worth about 20,000. So we're going to take 20,000 off the contract, agreed to contract price. And now we're going to lend only 80% of that smaller value. Do you need for me to go through that again? See,
Yeah,
the bank
why
is
don't
going
we
to
get
say,
one more time, because I think the whole idea of the bank being able to do that is so unfair. So I think,
yep, the bank is saying, I'm loaning money on real estate, not chattel. So if chattel is included, I'm going to subtract what I perceive as the value, and maybe they send an appraiser and assessor to find out what that boat is worth, or do, Blue Book, whatever. And they're going to deduct that. So any major item of value, sometimes it's a huge rug, maybe it's a boat. Those are the things that I've seen, expensive chandeliers. That would be something that would be outside of the contract. And it would be a letter that the attorney would put together. But that's something you have to communicate to the attorney. Arlene, do you need to add to that? Or want to?
whatever it is aside, anything like if they're selling furniture, I am not involved. And I make sure that it's not on the contract for
right.
the reasons that Patty was saying.
Yep. So the best thing to do is, if you're using a mortgage rep, and hopefully Carnegie Mortgage is going to be up and running soon, you'd be able to call your Carnegie mortgage rep and say, they want to include the boat, but how do I do that? And they would say, whoa, don't put it in the contract. Okay. So you take the guidance from them.
I actually would just speak to your broker about it prior to speaking to anybody, because if the mortgage rep knows it, he's got to disclose it, just like us. So speak to your brokers, write an email to the broker and they'll respond.
Okay. Additionally, the buyer's attorney should have the pre-approval, copy of the pre-approval when you represent the buyer. And the buyer to apply for the mortgage during the attorney review period and schedule the inspections. Now, Arlene, I'm going to pull on you again, but I've always counseled people to schedule the inspections while they're in attorney review, to be done immediately after the end of attorney review, as best you can guess it. Now, Arlene, you're out there in the listing and selling, so.
Right, I usually have them make the appointment for the closest date they can that we assume we would be out of attorney review and under contract, but we only have that 10 days to do it. So I try to get that inspection lined up as close to where I think that we'll be under contract.
Okay.
So I'll make it right away.
Yep, move it along. Guys, you have to understand, you're the driver of this. You drive the bus. You're pushing, and by and large, you're pushing everybody to get this job done. And don't be afraid to do that in a polite but firm way.
And Rosalia has a question. I'm not sure if you see that.
Oh, I do see that now. Thank you.
Yes, I just wanted to know if you have any repairs to be done by the seller on the negotiations. What's then the best time frame for doing the inspection?
Okay,
I didn't hear you.
go ahead, Arlene.
I said I didn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Rosalie, a little louder.
Oh, yes, if you have, as part of the negotiations, the seller agreeing to do some repairs, when is it advisable to do the inspection? Or I guess would be the CO, then I got confused. It's not the.
Okay, so
CO that
there's
you're talking about, but the
two
inspection.
different things that I believe you're talking about. Patty's talking about a home inspection,
Yeah, that's correct. Okay.
and
Thank
you're
you.
talking about after the home inspection is completed, a seller has agreed to get something done. So therefore, 10 days before closing date, you want to have another inspection to, walk through type. And then the day of closing, you're also having that final walkthrough. But 10 days before your anticipated close date is the time that you want to go back in and make sure that they have done what they promised they would take care of according to those home inspection requests. So it's two different things you're talking about, right?
Yep, yep.
Did I understand it correctly, Rosalia?
That's right. Yeah. And so the second inspection, they do it with a certified inspector or just the buyer?
Just the buyer and the agent go in and they have their little checklist that says what was supposed to be done. Some people do bring that home inspector back. They do have to usually charge for that. So it all depends the buyer's comfort zone.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And the buyer's attorney usually requests copies of the bills from a professional licensed, whether it be
Any
plumber or
invoices,
electrical,
yeah,
and the invoices, yep.
okay. All right, so the buyer will apply for, because they have to pay for physical, pest, chimney, septic, well, radon, oil tank, and pool if applicable. Some of those are not applicable, but they should all be included. We're also finding that even homes where there are sewers, they're now doing sewer line inspections. That's the line from the house to the street, because some of those sewer lines are kind of old and they're starting to collapse.
Right.
Okay, keep open communication with the attorney and the mortgage rep to confirm status. Keep open communication with the other agent, non-aggressive. I mean, you really want the other agent to feel as if you two are working as a team to get this to closing. It's not adversarial, it's a team getting this to closing. Go into command and make sure you complete your commissions in there. The title company will order the first title search once you're under contract, and they'll do another one just before closing. The reason they do one right after the end of attorney review is they want the time, in case there's a smudge or a cloud on the title, to get time to clean it up. And then they're going to do another title search just before closing. You want to monitor and verify any deposits and the dates according to the contract or the attorney letters that came after the contract. All right, you've got to read those attorney letters and read them line by line, because they frequently refer to a line number in the contract. They'll say, deleting line 115 in the contract. Well, you've got to pull up the contract and say, okay, what did he just delete, or what did she just delete? Monitor the mortgage process. Is the application complete? Are the verification of deposits, assets, and income done? And the appraisal will be ordered. Please go to that appraisal and provide comps, and make sure the mortgage commitment is uploaded into command. That's kind of your fail-safe, like, hey, I made sure I monitored this. Also make notes when the deposits are received. Attend the inspections and take notes. assist in getting estimates for repairs, guide the buyer to get a homeowner's insurance, call the utility companies and put the utilities in their name, effective on the day of closing. Change of address for subscriptions, DMV, voter registration to be effective the date of closing. Confirm that the seller gets the fire inspection and CCO if applicable. If it's an REO, which means a bank-owned property, the buyer must obtain the CCO and allow about 2 to 3 weeks. Some of these towns are kind of, the fire inspector is part-time and very part-time. So if you think you're going to get your fire inspection 2 days before closing, you might hold up the closing because you won't get it done. Submit your commission bill to the attorneys 14 days prior to close. The reason I say 14, I tend to be very conservative. I like to be sure it's done, and I don't want to wait till the last minute. Schedule the pre-closing walkthrough and bring notes from the inspections. I think we already covered that. Attend the closing, bring a copy of your commission bill and ask the attorney to give you a copy of the closing statement for you to upload in Command. Be sure to upload all required docs to Command, including important emails. The most important emails would be attorney correspondence and any email having to do with environmental, health, safety, inspection issues. Arlene, can you add to that at all?
No, I think you're doing great. Yeah, I tuned you out. I wasn't listening. I'm also very honest, guys. I'm very
No, we
blunt.
love it. Okay, that's okay. I guess I'm doing an okay job.
You're doing
Okay, so
great.
go to the closing. Sometimes, essentially there are 2 closings. There's the closing of the mortgage and then the closing of title. Arlene, do you know if they're allowing you to come into the, COVID careful into the closing of title, or are they still asking agents to stay outside?
I had a closing the other day that the attorneys would not allow it. I
Okay.
had a closing 3 weeks ago. Those attorneys did allow me to come in. So I really think it's a personal choice of the attorneys with the spike and with the holiday. I don't know if they were just being a little more cautious, but they did not allow any agents, and they had the seller do it by mail. He didn't even want the seller side in. So.
Okay. So maybe it's a good idea to ask when you submit your bill, make sure they've gotten it, and then say, by the way, will I be allowed into the closing? I think it's really important you go to the closing, and I know for some of the attorneys are having the seller sign the documents way ahead of time. For the buyer, not so much, but for the seller, they'll do that. I just, if you're representing the seller, and by the way, this checklist is for either side, whether you're working with the buyer or the seller. It's up to you and maybe your broker as to whether you go to the closing if the seller is not going, if the seller has already signed the documents. Okay.
I personally do go either way. I know a
Uh-huh.
lot of agents are getting away from doing that. In my opinion, I would like to be able to do full circle. So I want to make sure that they know that I'm representing them. And then this way, if anything does come up in the final walkthrough, I'm at that closing, so there's no surprise.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and frequently even the listing agent is tasked with bringing the keys
yep.
and the garage door open and all that stuff. So, okay, so once it closes, bring the check to the market center and celebrate, ring the bell, and stay in touch with your client. Be sure they are part of a marketing campaign, a smart plan, and ask for a review and a referral. So, Arlene, anything? I mean, we kind of talked about the things we would embellish or add to.
Yeah, I kind of think that's it. I just want you guys to know that in the checklist that we have, there is a timeline one. So therefore, you should really try to get that, and on your own system, set up a system for yourself so you have all those dates and you know when the inspection is going to be, when the first initial deposit, additional deposit is due, when the
Inspections?
mortgage commitment is due, the inspection is going to be held, and then the mortgage contingency be closed out. So let me just share my screen a second, Patty.
Sure.
See if we can work on this for a second. So when Patty's system is the same way as mine, so this is, fine. If your offer accepted, you must receive a fully executed copy, which is exactly what Patty said, which means it's by the buyer and the seller. The offer and all the associated documents then get sent to all the attorneys. Some agents feel that it should be the buyer's side. Some feel it's the seller side. I don't care which side I have. I send them to all parties. And I also include that executive summary that I spoke about earlier. And then all the documentation together. Just like Patty said, the signed contract of sale, the MLS listing, seller disclosure, lead paint, lead form, and the contract information for all parties involved. I do not give my buyer's phone number, but their email goes to the attorney, but not to the other opposing agent. I keep my client's information personal, and I really prefer it when the attorneys, I make two threads of email. One that goes to my client, the attorney, and I, so we have an open thread of communication. I do another thread that goes to the two buyer attorneys and the buyer attorney, seller attorney, listing agent, and buyer's agent. So we have a thread. Some of the attorneys lately have been melding the emails and they're sending it with the client's information, and then the buyer and the seller are communicating. Could be a nightmare. Sometimes it's okay. Other times it's a nightmare. So just be careful and don't be the one to start that chain, that they're all in one. I always keep those separate to keep my clients safe. And I don't want somebody on the other side to have my client's information, because I also don't want them to try to adopt an orphaned client after the closing is done. Okay? So make sure everything does go in DocuSign exactly like Patty said, because that's the permanent file for the office for compliance. And then you could do a separate room or separate envelope. I don't know what it's called in DocuSign, but all the correspondence from the attorneys and the agent relating to that transaction go into a folder within that DocuSign agreement, okay? Paperwork needed to purchase when it's under contract and sold. All of this is in your thing. Patty, I think, did you have anywhere else you wanted to go? I don't want to
No.
monopolize this, so.
No, go ahead, add to it. It's so nice, there's really no hard and fast rule on certain aspects, and it's so nice to see another perspective. And you've added things. I like it, Arlene. Thank you.
Okay, and please, guys, this is totally interactive. I know I muted everybody so we could hear Patty, but by all means, please, any questions you have, just put them out there, okay? Patty and I are getting group text messages, which have got to stop because I'm not going to look at them.
Oh
Okay.
my God, you don't get any better, you get just better at it.
Anyway, so you've read all this. Then I like to go into the responsibilities from acceptance to close, just what Patty was talking about. Please, guys, think about it. Create systems to do all of your tasks. Whether you have the timeline sheet, an Excel sheet, whatever system's going to work for you is what you need to use. Sorry, all of a sudden I'm trying to talk and it's not going to let me. But I really push the idea of systems, and I'm going to say it again, like Patty did, play nice in the sandbox. Both agents, list side and buy side, are trying to do the best for their clients. It's not personal, it's professional. Play nice in the sandbox. We all have the same goal, get our clients to be happy.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
gonna-
Arlene,
Again, I know it's sorry. I'm gonna ask you to practice. Pick the listing paperwork or a sales contract, whichever it is. Practice it, understand it. Any questions you have, now's the time to ask it when you don't have a problem. When you're doing it live, that's not when you want to find out you don't understand something. You want to know in advance, practice it. So you're going to be able to do it efficiently and professionally with your clients. Okay. We'll go into all this on another one, okay? So yeah, and then at the closing table, you also get the closing disclosure documents. That gets part of the permanent file as well. All right. What questions do you guys have?
Yes, hello. I have a question.
Sure. What's up?
This Susan, how are you? So I'm writing an offer for the same buyer I wrote yesterday an offer that was for highest and best. I hardly heard back from the agent and she didn't update me if it's accepted, only received. I'm writing
you
another.
bring up a good point, and I hope you don't mind, I'm going to jump in. But when you submit an offer, always ask, when can I expect to hear back from you?
Okay, because they kind of monitor or the owner of this role, so they kind of give you an order. They don't really communicate well, especially when highest and best. So, and I don't want to be like, I don't want to tell them what to do. I need them to guide me. So I'm trying to be very careful how to communicate, but I don't see them communicating well. I know how to communicate, but I don't want to, so I'll just send her an email. Thank you. When should I expect you give me the reply for my client offer?
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, sure. Go ahead. Sorry.
When you went, no, you were fine, Susan. When you went to submit that offer, did you see any type of instructions on how that offer should have been submitted?
Yes.
What I am finding and what I myself am doing is, being that there's so many offers right now, I set up a Google form. I request that anybody submitting an offer on a property that I think is going to go multiple offers, I will put in there, this too has to be filled out. And basically what it is, it's asking for everything in a laid out manner, because I can click a button then after you fill out my form, which is asking for your name, your company, the offer price, the down payment, the terms, all the terms spelled out. Do you know your mortgage rep? Have you used them before? Is it a pre-approval? What type of pre-approval? I don't like pre-qualifies. What type of loan is it? Have they spoken to the mortgage people? There's quite a few different questions off the top of my head. I can't remember what are on there in addition to that. At which point they are sending that along with a full, complete offer. They have to do the contract of sale, all those documents that were listed on that other PowerPoint that I've done for you, what you have to give to submit an offer. And it's the seller's disclosure, the lead paint, all of that is in one complete offer. So therefore it's one complete package going to that agent. So therefore she's not getting piecemeal. And as Patty said, the executive summary. Okay, when I put that executive summary in, it shows that other agent, I am easy to be working with. I am a team player. Okay,
Mhm.
I think it just works out well. So,
Can I send you the body of the email that it shows the steps and explanation of my offer and what I'm giving them, like what type of loan, what type of financing for my client, and that I'm easy to
I
work
think
with.
I think I shared my executive summary with you, Susan, before, didn't I?
No, Arlene.
Okay, it was, might have been somebody else. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, you could
You wanna
email it to me.
share it and put it to me, that's fine.
I will email it
I'll
to you.
look at it
I
for
just
you.
need you to see it and send me what you have, just or edit mine, let's say the way that you prefer. And
No,
what
I'm
she
not
asked,
gonna edit it. You're running your own business. You are the CEO of your own business. You decide what you want to do. I can give you options of what I do, yet you have to create your own.
I mean, are we all learning from each other? And you are our coach.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm
Yeah,
seeking help. So of course I wanna I see I implement my system, so I just need to improve it. So yes,
problem.
yeah, thank you for saying that I'm the CEO. Thank you. That puts me up. But still
Wonderful.
I need your guidance. Thank you. So I'll send you
And
what I
that's
said.
fine, but it has to be your own, so you have to personalize it yourself. So however you want to do it is perfect. All right, I mean,
The
I can
agent
tell you,
didn't do, oh,
I'm listening, go ahead.
the agent didn't put the seller disclosure in the document. I asked for it and she never sent it.
And she might not have had it.
Okay, so I send everything as one PDF and send it to her after my client has e-sign.
Okay. Did you have your client sign the offer prior to submitting it?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you were gonna send something. All right, so guys, I go down here. I have my templates. An offer to purchase email. I come right here. It comes out right here. It's an offer to purchase. I then change this to the title. Okay, I'm doing 25 Washington Street in Tenafly. That happens to be the office address. Sorry, I'm not thinking straight. Offer on. Now I communicate with the agent. I make sure that she knows what I'm doing. So here is, I substitute the agent's name. Okay. Here's the agent. Susan, okay, whatever it is. I thank her for the communication, even if she's ignored me, you know, or she said, yes, submit it. This is my offer and list of attached documents. This is my buyers, what their first names are, what the sale price is, what the close date is. I do the financing, okay? What their pre-approval is, the company, the name, and the phone number of that person, because I want them to be able to call them and verify it. Okay. I also let them know the buyer has nothing to sell, or whatever you need to say about your buyer. And then I attach the pre-approval, the contract of sale, seller's disclosure, lead paint. I normally sometimes also include the MLS sheet. I know the listing agent already has it, but I personally like to do it. And then I do a little bit about my buyers. And as for me, I feel that I'm easy to work with, always seek a win-win and a drama-free work zone. I'm a team-
Arlene? Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. If I could add to that MLS, including that, some agents, if something's been on the market, it depends, doesn't even have to be long. They may change something in the MLS, and they may change that after you've made your offer. So it's good to have documented what was in the MLS when you made the offer.
Okay. That's perfect.
Guys, this is really good stuff.
All right, so now I just updated my form because she talked about that. Okay. All right,
Okay, email it to us.
Yeah,
Yes.
can you do that?
you
To
guys
all.
have to email me requesting it and then I can do it because,
Then
Thank
she
you.
can just reply. That's easier, guys. She
yeah.
may not know your email if you're from other than the Tenafly office.
What's your email?
It's in the chat, Arlene Bianco, whatever one I put in there. Let me see what I put in there.
Okay, yeah, I see.
Arlene Bianco 2@gmail. Okay, so Patty Jalal, she's gonna send you that document if you email. her.
Already did. If people,
And then
yeah.
if you want it from me, you're gonna send this to me. All right, the other one that we could actually look at too, real quick. Just so you understand what I do. Patty, I can't see if somebody's in the waiting room.
No, they're not. At this
okay.
point, they're not.
All right, so why is this not moving for me? Oh, there we go. All right, so I'm going to compose, compose. And now I'm gonna look, now when I have the agents, when I'm on the listing side, okay? This is the multiple offer, okay? This is what I automatically send to everybody when I get it, okay? After one offer has been decided, okay? Because there's multiple offers, only one could get it. So I have a preset thing, sorry, you're also left out, and then change this line, whatever meets your thing. So I wanted to reach out with you as soon as possible, blah, blah, blah. You systematize everything, guys. Make it easy for yourselves. Okay, anytime you want to do something, if you have it as a template, it's so much easier for you to do than it is for you. Oh, come on. These little buttons, trying to move them around is hard. All right. If comes time to do Carnegie homeowners insurance, after you go under contract, you have to send something to Carnegie Insurance. It's a pre-done form, okay?
You're
I
very
don't
organized,
know that I'm
Arlene.
doing it.
Impressive.
If you, there was another one. Okay, offer instructions to me. Oh, I have to empty this first. Oh, shoot. Let's go to close again. Whoops. All right, so now if I want to tell them how the offer, I want it to be in there, I will put this on. We're currently expecting multiple offers. At this time, I do not have an offer of my own. If I do, I state it, okay? But honestly, guys, I don't do my own offers. If I get the buyer and I already have the seller, I ask somebody in the office to cover that buy side for me, whether it be the broker or it be somebody in the office.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? That was gonna be the question that
I myself do not like to do dual agency. I mean, dual agency is okay, but I don't like to do the buyer and the seller. I would rather have somebody else in the office. No, because this way it keeps the lines divided and I'm not overstepping or accidentally stating anything that I shouldn't be stating.
Now, Arlene, you're referring to single licensee dual agency, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So when you're saying you refer to the broker, then, the broker would get a referral fee and then they would just, or how do you work it
That's
out?
something you could talk to your broker about. I know Ridgewood has a special email address that they use that all if the listing agent has their own offer, they have the address, they have all of them sent that way. Find out how the broker in your particular market center handles it, if they would represent the negotiating part. I don't know. It really is up to the broker.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
sometimes you can have a buddy do it. Some of you work together, you cover for each other. Sometimes
I
you can
prefer
call,
that.
pardon me?
That's what I prefer to do, have somebody in
Yeah.
my office to do it.
Yeah, I owe, you owe, and you kind of tit for tat
Yep.
and not necessarily pay each other, but just help each other.
Right. All right, so if there is a thing, I will send this to anybody who has sent me an offer already. And also, I talked before about the Google offer, the Google page. I'm not going to be bringing that up right now, but that's okay. I want to stop sharing and I want to get back to whatever questions you guys might have. Anybody have any questions? Systems really work, guys, and then nothing falls between the cracks. You have a perfect time to set yourself up with systems. Anytime you do something, every transaction is going to be different a little bit, but there's a lot that is the same. So turn around and really set yourself up that you will not miss any steps. We're at 6:48. Patty and I like to wrap it up by 7
Early.
o'clock.
Yeah,
So you have whatever time frame now, this is your chance.
I
Ask
have one
away.
question. I have a client, they were looking for the house and I found in Rutherford one and I called the agent and